Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be exploring the Nextr ecosystem. Before we begin, let's make sure we have everything we need installed. So the first way to check is to make sure that you have Nextr extension and Nextr blocks installed and activated. Let's go ahead and go under plugins, and you'll see here that we have Nextr blocks installed and activated. And you'll see here that we have the Pro one. We're only using it for this video. So if you have Pro, make sure you have Pro installed and activated. But if not, it should just be activated plainly right here. So we have blocks and we have extension. Next, let's make sure that we have the theme installed and activated. And you can see here that our active theme is Nextr. Now let's go ahead and explore the dashboards for each one. So starting from the top, we have the Nextr extension. Let's go ahead and click on this, and it will take us to the dashboard of Nextr extension. And here you can see we have links to documentation. We can raise a ticket. We can enter the Facebook community and ask some questions there. And we can also suggest features. We also have video tutorials over here and the other social media. We have the theme customizer over here, and you can see we can access our global colors, typography, logos, site identity, and so on and so forth, which we will take a look at later on. Next, we have our utilities. We can activate Adobe fonts. We can also upload custom fonts from here, and if we click on this to activate it, we can also click on the gear icon to toggle whatever is in here. We also have some other utilities here. We have performance over here, so we can configure our Google fonts, disable comments, disable image sizes, and so on and so forth. We also have our next tab here, which is security. And we have 2FA, CAPTCHA, content protection, lots of cool features. So content protection, as an example, we can disable drag and drop, enable copy paste functions, right click, and so on and so forth. Very cool stuff. We also have our admin interface over here and some other extra options here. So we can roll back the Nextr version. We have white label options here, and we have other products. So again, as you can see, the scope of this video is Nextr theme, Nextr blocks, and other products from the developers of Nextr. Next, we have the theme builder over here. And if we clicked on this, you'll see that we have everything that the theme builder has to offer, and we will take a look at this in its own chapter later. Next, we have our code snippets, and here you can see where you can enter PHP and JavaScript. Next, let's take a look at Nextr blocks, well, the dashboard that is. And you can see here the same as the dashboard for the extension, but here we have our blocks tab. And let's go ahead and click on Enable All, because we do have our Pro features. And we can also disable everything from here. And you can also see we have categories for free blocks, freemium blocks, and Pro blocks. And they're also categorized according to whether they have tabs, if they're something to do with social media, advanced tabs, builders extra, and so on and so forth. There's also some templates here made by the developers of Nextr. We won't go over these in this video. And some other options here, such as the settings. We can enable or disable certain things, performance options. We can roll back the plugin, white label, theme builder, options over here, and then more products from the developers of Nextr, and the activation license key. Let's create our home page and take a look at the Nextr blocks in the process. So on our dashboard, head over to your left-hand sidebar, down to Pages, and click on Add Page. It's going to take us to the block editor, and we will have a brand new blank page to work with. And from here, we can name it and start populating it with blocks. So here we have some options here, okay? We can toggle the sidebar, right? Well, we'll just keep it on default for this example since it's going to be our home page. And let's name it Home. And if we click on the block inserter here, you can see we have a whole bunch of Nextr blocks to choose from. And all we have to do is just drag and drop these. Let's start off with the container here, Flexbox, just 2. And let's add an image here. And let's add an advanced heading here. Or probably just a plain one. Keep it simple for the time being. And just like any other block, you just have to click on them and you can edit them with the top toolbar over here or with your settings on the right hand sidebar. Welcome to our website. And let's say we want to add a button. We can go ahead and do that. Same. Or for this one, just go ahead and click on this and layout and insert. And we have a bunch of options over here to choose from. And we'll go ahead and probably go with this one. Okay, great. So there's a whole bunch of others to choose from, and we'll probably use them later on in this video. But for now, let's take a look at what Nextr has to offer for us. So for instance, in this block, we have an image, and we've just chosen this. We can delete or replace it. We can change alignment relative to where it is. We can use dynamic properties, URL. We can change the caption. We have some special options over here. And just by default, a lot of these blocks give you a lot of options by default with Nextr that really make it very versatile, the blocks that is. And then under the next tab, we have style. So you have your normal options over here. So we can change the background. We can change the border. We can add a border radius. So we can put, let's say, 20 pixels on everything. And you can see there it is. And we won't go too in-depth into each one of these blocks, but just to show you how these ones look like. And we have advanced over here. So we can add global styles. We can change the spacing on this one for the margin and padding. We can add a background to this, border, further options, scroll animations, right? And this appears on most of the blocks, well, basically all of the blocks that you have here. And extra options here, event tracking, display rules, and these are just conditions, and position, so Z-index and CSS. Responsive options to high-distance desktop, tablet, and or mobile. Custom classes, custom CSS. A really cool thing they have here is, well, we have additional CSS classes over here, but a really cool thing is we have a help button over here and an AI assistant. And if you see here on the heading, and it's not even an advanced one, we still have our advanced settings over here. So even on free Nextr, you have so many options to choose from to make your website stand out. So let's go ahead and click on Publish. And if we were to go to our live site, or probably this one, oops, it doesn't show. And if we went to our home page, it doesn't show up. So let's go ahead and click on Customize real quick. And we're going to enter the customizer. And don't worry, we'll take a look at each one of these. We'll gloss over these in a while. And you can see here we have homepage settings. So click on that and click on static page. And click on home, because that's what we named this one. And now home is our home page. So let's go ahead and figure this out real quick. Let's go ahead and remove the on scroll animations. See if that does anything. Click on publish. And let's go ahead and visit our site again. Okay, there you go. So this is our home page. And now let's take a look at some of the other options, such as the main thing, which is the theme builder, which will allow us to start to have our headers and footers. Okay, so let's start to take a look at the theme builder of Nextr. So on our dashboard, on our left-hand sidebar, down under Nextr extension, we have the theme builder. Just click on that, and you'll see we have a few buttons over here. So we have add new template, and we can also import templates. For this video, we're only going to be concerned about creating new ones. So this is what we'll select. And you can see we have a bunch of tabs here. So we have all, which will display all of our theme builder templates, sections, headers, footers, breadcrumbs, hooks, single, archive, and 404. Those are things that we can build with Nextr. And the whole basis of Nextr is that with every WordPress theme, it's a blank slate. And this feature of Nextr is what will allow us to fully customize our site. So let's start with making a header, and let's click on Add New Template. And it's going to ask us to select a template type. So we have a few options here, and as you can see, the same as the tabs. Let's go and click on header, and let's call this header 1. Okay, and we have additional settings over here. We can choose to make it sticky or normal and sticky. For this video right now, let's make it normal, so not sticky, and you can also choose to make it transparent or not. Let's click on next, and we can include this on the entire website, but it's also asking us, we can have it only on the front page, we can have it only on our author archive or 404 page, and these are conditions for us to choose from. So right now we want to display this on the whole website. We can also choose to exclude it from certain locations. So to keep it simple, let's choose the whole website and click on Create. Now we'll end up on our block editor, and from here we can now choose some options. So we can go ahead and add site logo over here, right? And we'll choose our logo here. There you go. Again, you have your options here, our layout settings here. We can make the max width. We can make the logo sticky or not. We can also add a navigation menu. And you know what? It's probably best if we add a container here and make it a grid. Oops. Probably go with this flexbox and have a bunch of these over here, and we'll drag and drop this to be over here. And then our menu, we can either make a manual menu from here, or we can use a menu within WordPress, and that is from our backend. We can make this a vertical menu or not, and we can have our levels here. So level 1 is item 1, right? And we can add a new menu item here. Click on this item 2. Just for example purposes, we can go ahead and drag and drop these around. You can see level 0. We can make it level 1, right? And then, oops, we can drag and drop these, and you can see this now becomes a submenu item. And if I were to make another one over here, item 3, you can see that it is separate. So let's go ahead and make it horizontal, and there you go. And for each one of these, you can see that we can input a link here. So just type it in there. As of now, we don't have any blog entries or posts, blog entries or pages. So we'll just keep these as placeholders, and you can customize these how you want. And we can add a button over here. And we can customize this however we want. And we can also add we can add a search icon over here. This is just stock WordPress stuff. So let's go ahead and click on publish, and let's go ahead and take a look at the template. Okay, it's a bit skewed, so let's go ahead and remove this, save it, and then let's reload this. Okay, that looks a bit better, and you can see that our menu functions. And now, since we set this to display on the whole website, and this is our home page, let's reload our site. And as you can see, we now have a template here. And in a typical WordPress site, you're limited to around 3 rows. So with the beauty of the Nextr template builder, a theme builder, is that we can add as many containers and rows as we want, more than 3. As an example, we'll have it here. We'll have this, again, this, and then this. And then we'll put some headings here, here, and then here. And then let's save this. And hopefully this placeholder text should appear. Okay, there you go. And if we reloaded our site, you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And if you wanted to, you can go ahead and just delete these whole, I'll unlock it first. And then we can delete these whole rows, these containers, as we deem necessary. And once we save it, it should appear on our template preview here, and it should appear also on our website. Likewise, we can make a footer in exactly the same way. So the reason why we have the template builder here and all of these tabs is that we can have multiple different headers, and we can edit where we want to display them. So let's say I wanted to make a different header and include it only for the blogs, only for the front page. We can make a completely different one for each. And in the same way, we can have a footer, and let's click on Add New Template. And this way, we can start building our footer, footer 1. And we have additional settings over here. We can have some effects on it. We'll just keep it on normal for this video. And we'll include it on the entire website and click on Create. And here, in the same way that we've made our header, very versatile with our theme builder, we can just add containers. And let's have it be a grid like this. Or no, let's go ahead and change what we want for the layout. Let's go ahead and choose this one. And let's put an info box over here. Right, that's pretty cool. Put another one right there. We can put our social icons over here, right? And then for our layout, we can have them horizontal like that. And we can add a counter here as a placeholder. There you go. And then something else in here that would be kind of cool, or probably an image. Okay, and then let's go ahead and choose something random from our site. Here you go. Oh, that might be a bit too small. Okay, there you go. And again, we're not limited by the number of rows as in the default WordPress theme and customizer. We can put as many containers and rows and columns as we want. And again, we can customize these because they are simply blocks. So if we wanted to make it the maximum width smaller, if we wanted to arrange how these look like, minimum height, column width, right? We can do that from here. And each one of these, as they are blocks, have their own unique styles and options to choose from. So let's go ahead and click on Publish, and we can take a look at our template over here. And if we're happy with how this looks like on the website, we can go ahead and reload our site here. And you can see we now have a footer on our website. Okay, so let's briefly gloss over the theme customizer. And here we can find our global options. So we have our global colors, typography, blog settings, icons, and so on and so forth. And in each one of these, you will find a tooltip to tell you what these are, and it'll give us a link to some documentation to tell us what we're actually going to be configuring. But with each one of these, if we were to click the gear icon, we can see that we're going to be taken to the WordPress customizer. And the reason why we're doing it from our theme customizer is we don't want to be dependent on heading over to our customizer for everything. So as you can see, I clicked on global colors, and you can see we can change what our text color is going to be by default, and we can change it over here to be a different color. So if you wanted to be the purple for our text color, especially if we had it on our blog, we can set it as that. We can change our heading colors. So for this one, if we want it to be blue or purple, it should change, but as you can see, things don't always reload properly. There you go, it's green now on our preview. So here we have, again, our customizer settings. We have our general settings here. So container options are with for our certain like header, footer, body content, and so on and so forth. We can enable or disable our header and footer from here for the entire website if we didn't want to mess with our theme builder options, sidebar, body background and frames, selection color. These are somewhat minor options that we can see here, but we can also change our site identity, our logo from here, our colors, of course, and then our typography. We can change which font we're going to use for our body font, right? And we can change the font size and font weight by default, and for the headings as well. And then some options for pages and blogs. We can hide the featured image. It's going to be the same for this one. We have our menus over here, and it's just standard WordPress ones where we can either use the ones in our back end for our menus and widgets, or we can make custom ones as you've seen us do for our custom header template over here. And then same with widgets and our homepage settings. As you know, it comes with a static, the latest posts by default, and a static page has to be added in by us, the user, if we aren't using any custom templates and additional CSS. So we'll go ahead and publish, and that's going to change everything for our site. Okay, with that out of the way, let's take a look at all of the other templates that we can make with the Nextr theme builder. So we have our homepage, we have our header, we have our footer. Let's go ahead and make our blog archive or posts archive page. Let's start off with a template first, and let's add a new template, and we'll call it archives, and we'll call this blog 1, and we'll include it in all archives. And you can choose to change the layout depending on what kind of archive it is, but we'll just have it as all archives. And our preview will be based on these, and we'll just leave that as is. And we'll go ahead and click on create. And now here we can set up our posts. So in our block inserter, we have our Nextr blocks. If you scroll down a bit, you can see we have post listing. Let's drag and drop this into our workspace, and you can see we have a bunch of different examples here. So the other one won't display because it doesn't have any featured image. So under layout, we can click on this. We have a few different styles to choose from. Okay, very cool. We'll probably go with this one because everything displays. And you can see what kind of listings that we can put on here. So we have single page, archive page, normal page. And we can also choose whether or not to list pages or posts. So this isn't just for posts. We can also change our layout here, have it be like a carousel or have it be an interesting grid such as that. We can also change the category, display the category, the post meta, short, hide those. We'll probably hide those. And columns manager, we can change how this is going to look like. Right? We don't have enough to show you all of these. We have some filters for the categories and tags. We can show the button, so read more. Okay, we can change it like that. And we can also change the position, left or right. For the icon, change the icon, include or uninclude the icon. And we have other options over here. So which tag we want to use for these. Probably heading 1, I suppose. You can also show some excerpt from the content, and you'll have to configure this how you want. So we can also change the style, we can also change the color, and that's that. So we'll go ahead and click on publish, and this is just a placeholder, of course. You'll have to make it how you want it, and we'll take a look at the template. And okay, so this is how our blog page will look like, but this is just a template. How do we display it on our website? So let's return to our dashboard over here, and let's create a new page by clicking on Add Page, and we will have to name this blog, for instance, and we'll click on Publish, and we'll have to click on these three dots over here, Actions, and we'll set it as our Posts page. Okay, set as Post page. We'll click on Save. Okay, and if we were to view the page, we're going to see that our header's here, our content is here, and our footer's over here. So again, if we were to enter our dashboard, you can see, well, our blog has now been set as our post page. It's going to have this little postscript over here. And if we went over to our theme builder, okay, just to clarify some things, if we were to disable this blog template from here, and we reloaded our blog site, it wouldn't appear. So by default, this is how our post page will look like by the listing. As you can see, we have all of this excerpt, our heading 3, I believe, or 4 was it, that has this color. And if we were to enable this, and we were to reload our site, our blog page that is, you can see that the template comes into effect with however we laid it out. So there's the second example of how the theme builder allows us to customize our site in any way that we want. Let's now talk about making a template for single blog posts. So for example, we have this one called post number 4, and you have our featured image here, we have our meta here, our title as well, and our text. And then we have previous and next post options here. We have author meta and the comment section, and then our footer area. So let's go ahead and enter the theme builder, right? Next to our extension, theme builder, and add a new template. We'll select singular, and we'll call this blog single template. And let's hit next. And it's going to include in the front page. We're going to put this on all posts. Okay. And again, you can set this template to be for certain categories, for certain child categories, by author. So let's say if you had a specific author and you wanted to put a certain profile for them, or affiliate links or stuff like that, you can change it for that particular author, and for tags as well. So we'll have it for all posts right now for this example, and we'll have this as all posts and then preview post number 4. So we'll click on create, and it's going to take us to the block editor where we can edit this template. So blog single template, and let's enter our next row blocks here, and let's go ahead and put some breadcrumbs here. Okay. Let's put our post, our title here, of course, and then our content, and then our post listing here. And this is just going to be an example. So let's configure this top to bottom. So for here, later on, we'll take a look at the breadcrumbs template. But here we have some options to customize it. We'll put this in the middle. And we can enable or disable the icon. And then for the post title, we can change the tag, and we can also change the typography for this. Okay, and then for instance, we're going to go ahead and use Times, and we're going to make it all caps and bold. Oops, all caps and bold. And then we can make it italics, and then even underline it, and then change the line height, and even change the letter spacing. Okay. It's not going to look the best, but that's what we have here. And then for our post content, we can change the typography. We can change the padding. Let's go ahead and change this to, actually no, probably Helvetica. And we'll put it to 200. And font size, we'll put it at 0.5 EM. Okay, that sounds good. And then again, we can change how this looks like. We can have it full content, of course, and then we can change our alignment from here. Let's put it on the middle, just to keep things a bit different. Yep. And for this one, let's go ahead and configure this to be a bit more small, just so that it's a little bit more manageable. Okay. And once we're happy with that, okay, we can add some like meta and stuff like that. So we could probably show or hide certain ones. We can change the image width, right, to % just to make it smaller. And let's go ahead and click on Publish. So as you can see, we inserted our blocks here from Nexter, and it helped us build a template for a single blog. And of course, you can add other things here like testimonials. It's always going to be stuck on there. We can add a menu over here if we wanted to. And let's remove that real quick since I won't have that. We can add a list. We can add every single thing that you want here. And we can configure it how we want. So for instance, some themes will only let you have the breadcrumbs on the top. For this one, we can have it at the bottom. So we can click on Save and take a look at how it looks like. So by default, this is how our posts will look like on Nexter or on WordPress. Since we have the template that we created, let's reload the site. And now you can see, well, the featured image has disappeared, but now you can see we've changed the text, and every single post or blog item that we have will look the same. So you can see here, we're on example 3 now. That's an example for a template for a single blog post. Okay, now let's take a look at making breadcrumbs. So let's add a new template. Okay, and then here it's going to ask us what we want, and we'll go ahead and click on breadcrumb. 1. Click on next. And it's going to ask us where, and we're going to put it on all singulars or the entire website, sure. And click on Create. And it's going to give us, here in the block editor, how the breadcrumbs are going to look like. So we'll have this as our basis, right? And real quick, let's go ahead and keep it on here. And you can notice on this one, it has a home icon, and then on here it doesn't. Just to show you what happens is that this one now has the home icon, and this one doesn't, because this one was added in as part of our single blog template. So for every single thing on our website that has breadcrumbs, such as single or on our homepage or on our archives, everything that we change on here will be completely different from what will be on here. So let's go ahead and customize this a little bit. Let's add a border to this, right? Let's change the border color to be red so it's visible. Let's add a separator. Let's put a separate background on this. Let's make it light blue. Okay, and then content background, we can add that. Layout, we can align this to be on the middle or on the right. We can change the icon to be something else. Let's go ahead and use this one, I guess. And then we can also have a different home URL. We can change the separator icon, and we'll go ahead and change it to this. And visibility, we can hide this on certain areas of the site. And of course, we have our Nexter advanced settings, and we can add animations to this. So let's go ahead and click on Save and take a look at how it looks like on our site. And now for every single singular and archive, since we set it there earlier, it's going to appear as this. So if you wanted to have it separate from this, we'd have to go ahead and change this in the singular templates. And if you wanted to have both of these, right, you wanted to have this blue one on your other pages, then you could just go into the conditions, display conditions, and hide it from your blog post. So here's an example of where you could use those display conditions. Okay, now let's talk about hooks. So add a new template. We'll put hooks and hook 1. And then you have additional settings here. Here it's going to ask us where we want to add it. So let's put it on head top and click on next. And that's where it will appear. And we'll just put it on the front page. Okay. And we'll click on create. And now we should be in our block editor, and we'll end up on our, we'll have an area to put our hook. So over here, let's go ahead and put a container. Let's put it as this, and then we'll put here a heading. And then let's go ahead and put something here. Don't miss out on cool free tutorial. Click this bar. Okay, and then let's go ahead and change the typography of this, to be probably a bit easier to read and a bit smaller, of course. And let's go ahead and put this as 300, and let's underline this. Okay, and then for the color, let's go ahead and change it to white, and let's go ahead and put a background on this, and we'll make it something a bit visible, probably that. Okay. And then let's go ahead and click on Publish, and there's our hook. So once we reload our site, it shouldn't appear on our singulars, but if we went to our home page, here is our hook. So that's a real simple way of managing the hooks. And you can see that it only appears on our front page and not on any of our blog items, such as example 3 or in our archive over here. Now let's go ahead and take a look at making a simple 404 page. So under the theme builder, let's click on add new template, and let's select our template type to be 404 page. That's the 404 template, and we can enable or disable the header and footer here. Let's go ahead and disable the footer so we can navigate back to our home page, and let's click on create. And now we're going to end up in the block editor, where we can insert some really cool things. So by default, our 404 page will look like this. It's going to have this image here. Oops, page can't be found, and then go back home. So let's go ahead and put a container here. Or probably not. Let's just go ahead and put a heading here, and then just simple text. 404 page not found. Okay, and then let's change up our typography here. Georgia, smaller font size, make it bold, and then for the layout, let's put it in the middle. Next, let's put a search bar here. Okay, let's remove that. And then we can probably change it to this. Okay. And then let's go ahead and publish that. So with that, let's go ahead and reload this. And now we should have this as our 404 page. Now, if you didn't want to, going back to our breadcrumbs, if you didn't want it to appear here, we can go ahead and manipulate it in our display conditions. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. we have our simple pages here, such as our post page and our front page, and some example posts, but everything else that has built our website has been built using Nexter's theme builder. So we have our 404 template, and we can enable or disable that, and we can add conditions to where they will be displayed, such as for our hook, for our breadcrumbs, and we can have different breadcrumbs for different parts of our site. We can have different templates for different blogs and different singular pages. We can have different headers and footers for different parts of our site as well. So overall, Nexter has been a very powerful and very easy to use and understand theme in WordPress. And although this might not look the most beautiful, it just illustrates that we can customize our site any way we want, and it's very easy to do with the Nexter theme extension and the blocks, especially in using the Nexter theme builder. Now, we've really liked using the Nexter blocks and extension and theme, and we've seen throughout this video that the Nexter ecosystem is a very powerful one. And we can customize things however we want, especially with using the Nexter theme builder. But as you've seen, there are blocks that are free and there are blocks that are pro. To unlock the full potential, you're going to want to have to go pro, and let's take a look at the pricing plans of Nexter. And you can see there are a few different plans to choose from, but the one that we can recommend for you is the Studio one, because you can use it on unlimited sites and you'll only have to pay $199 once. And with that $199, what do you get? Well, you get the Nexter blocks and all of the cool features, but you'll also get lifetime plugin and theme updates and lifetime premium support, among other things. So we have a link down in the description that you can click to check out the Nexter theme and the Studio plan. If you liked the Nexter theme as much as we did, please let us know in the comments if you want to see more videos about Nexter blocks, the Nexter extension, making things such as pages and blogs and other templates for your website using Nexter. So if you found this video helpful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, as it really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. Show this kind of video to other nerds like us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.